Where were you in your material when you were showing this before, and you had the idea that the sun and the heliosheath were sort of moving, and then I derailed you with my ignorance.
Don't put yourself down in any way, please.
Oh, I don't
That's
take
not
it
healthy.
yeah, no, we're all fools. It's okay. I don't mind not knowing stuff. That's why I ask questions, but
Yeah, I don't know a lot too,
mm,
So the more you know, you don't know.
isn't it? Isn't
Right?
it? Yeah, true story.
So yeah. So yeah, actually you could say when I don't know if I'm there 100% right, but I mean when we have that, what I think, yeah, is when the direction of the sun or the whole solar system is towards that point north of Sag, then we could say that when we see a planet, whatever planet on that side of the chart, then it means it has moved to kind of ahead, because the sun is always in the middle. It doesn't show out of that, right? So then in orbit, we are kind of ahead. May that now be the Earth, or may that be whatever planet. So whatever planet is actually situated in that part of the chart. We could say Scorpio as well, and Capricorn, right? So those would be like the head, going more in that direction would be ahead of the sun and not in the back. So could have some interesting thoughts in interpretation in astrology too.
Yeah, and I don't have any that I want to share right now, but that was my first thought. Like, oh, that goes to interpretation. That's really relevant to, how things are moving and how they really are. So in a way, it seems to just raise a question rather than provide an answer, but I still think that's very excellent. A lot of the best research, it just raises more questions,
Yes,
all of
exactly. I mean, you have to have questions before you can have answers anyway. So
that's it. We have a well-paved road ahead, it would seem. Do you have anything else that you wanted to say about the Oort cloud and the outer distance or the outer regions of the galaxy there?
well, I mean,
I said galaxy, but I meant, of course, solar system.
yeah, I mean, they say that this what this Oort cloud really is, nobody really knows right now.
Space dust and debris and stuff is the sort of theory.
But it's a theory. There's no real proof for that thing. It's a theory.
And how close Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 get to the Oort cloud? How close are they?
They won't go there.
They won't go. Okay.
At least they say that pretty soon. They assume that maybe in 2 or 3 years, the Voyager 1 and 2 will no longer be able to send signals back.
Sure. So what do you think the Oort cloud is?
When we look at the construct of everything, then we could say maybe that's a kind of such a donut, yeah, such another layer. And but I find it interesting that they think that we have here interstellar space and out there, so it is something that is compressed from two sides, right? So what
And
is
the
real?
Oort cloud is absolutely massive. Am I reading
Yeah.
this chart right, that it goes from 1,000 astronomical units out to 100,000?
Yeah. And when I was reading about it, the theory goes that it may even go to 200,000. So they don't know exactly.
And all of this is it's not hypothetical, but it's a little theoretical. Like they're just not even sure. It does, as when I learned about the Oort cloud, like in astronomy courses, I learned that it was a bunch of just sort of flotsam and jetsam and space junk and dust and debris out past the edge that out past the edge of the sort of like part of the solar system we think of. I mean, obviously it's right here in graphic form, so I'm not gonna go that, but you just learn it's like the outermost cloud of space junk. And that's, you know, that's just such a huge cloud. I don't understand how our little sun could move through space, right? This cloud of hundreds of thousands of astronomical units. But there's a lot I don't understand. That's okay. I don't disbelieve it. I just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know either. So but what I find, sometimes we are so focused on everything that is visible.
Visible.
Yeah, but when you take the spectrum, yeah, from all the energies, then what is visible to a human eye, which is anyway other creatures, they see much more than we see. Yeah. So but to the human eye, that's such a tiny fraction of what we can see of what there is, right?
I
So
agree. Oh
in
yeah.
this sense, when we concentrate on that which is visible, we only get a tiny little bit of what there is.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. Thanks for the reminder not to not to focus too much on the obvious stuff. I think the real value of everything that you're talking about is really, and like I said, the way that, I mean, it's almost like we live in a giant dome of kind of like protected how do you say, like life itself is protected by these stellar forces, and the conditions are such that we can, go about our lives knowing nothing about this, and it doesn't matter, but it's because of these protections from, that we can have atmosphere and life and this conversation and everything else. And I think the beauty of it is a little more abstract. Sometimes it comes into the being valuable, like in astrology, or you can get like a really cool you get really cool data if like the sun earth thing that we talked about. But so often I think with the material that you and I end up talking about, and just when we talk as friends, um, the value of it is so abstract and it's almost like spiritual science, or like sacred geometry and fractality all like bleed in together into like something where the the real nuggets, the real gold of it is, it's not. Yeah, maybe it isn't visible, like you were saying. It's like between the lines. Yeah.
Yeah, I when I was you know I was very deep in Eris orbit,
Yeah.
and then I came across various stars and stuff, and so I started to learn more also about spectra of stars and how this kind works and so on, or what they think how it works and so on. And I see a lot of these correlations and how, but again, it's just this very, there are so many stars out there, and because they are just so hardly visible, we just only get excited when we talk about Sirius because it's the brightest one, right? We can see because it's quite close. And others, they are huge and absolutely gigantic and much more evolved in a stellar life, and so on. But
and
they
the information we
just
might
don't
get from them,
interested in them because we don't see them. But maybe their influence is at least as extreme because they have massive, you said the little sun, with Oort cloud, and then that we push that all through space. How can that be? So when we have stars that are thousands of times or hundreds of times as voluminous as the sun, what fields are they creating, and what is when they flare up something, so
no, that's a really important thought. That it's so I think knowing what we don't know, no one likes to talk about that, the limits of knowledge and what we don't know. But I think that when you get out into like the astronomical values and the sort of territory that you and I are talking about now, we're getting really close to like, there's just points where you have to admit, well, we really don't know anything about that. We don't know what a cloud is. We've never sent, so
because we combined astronomy and the astrology, we are allowed to philosophize about
it's true. It's true, and we can get abstract and get into the toroid fields of the heart and soul, and all of this is our purview. It's true. It's delightful.
And we also,
are you still showing with this graphic?
I wanted to say something that I was when I was doing all these planetary cycles, I noticed some I thought very important, or I felt like they are very important, and now I can demonstrate why. It's like these relationships, that they intersect here. And so like Sedna and Eris and Pluto, then to Neptune. And so
that's it. They're like the outer gatekeepers.
Yes, for me, I always said when Neptune and Pluto was one of the first cycles I did, and they have very strange geometry. And so I thought, these are like gatekeepers, and then back then I didn't know this one yet. So, and so things come together, they form puzzles, right? And so it's like, when we think about this outer Sedna coming so out, so Sedna is coming into the realms of Eris, and so when they meet in the same longitude somewhere, even so they may not be they will not be at aphelion, perihelion the same time, but it's this link that they create, like from Sedna's very far out goes to Eris, and Eris transports to Pluto and then to Neptune, and so it comes in. Yeah, so we have the inflow from outer space, from the galaxy, right? And then we come until the sun or Mercury, and then the sun, and then we whoosh, we give it back out again. Yeah, so it's this back and forth, in and out. Yeah.
Another dance, another just a dance of energy.
Yeah, and constant exchange, and yeah, it's a dance.
And there's so much more to it. There's, than to just say dance. It's almost defies description. It's a little mind-blowing how it all fits together and informs each other and works holistically and comes to be. It's amazing how even everything that you've shown today and we've talked about is almost as the tip of its own iceberg. That there's the planetary patterns and the layers of meaning in all the bodies we didn't talk about. It's just I don't really know if I have a point in that. That's I don't think I'm trying to make the point that we just wow, there's so much we don't know, but I could make that point. I think the point is we bring the pattern together, we put the puzzle together. It's exhilarating, it's exciting, even what little we know about Sedna, and very little about Eris. We don't know much about them, but to discover even this about their relationality and their meaning relative to the main planets that everybody's familiar with, I think is even just that is a treasure. So all of this is it's just delightful and mind-blowing. It's so big. It's so big, the astronomy stuff. I can see why people don't, astronomers, not astrologers, but astronomers, they spend a lot of time like with calculations, like 100,000 astronomical units. That'd be nothing to to a real seasoned astronomer. 100,000 astronomical units. That's literally from here to Alpha Centauri is 1,000,000, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe 100,000, but
no, it's 1,000,000
it's 1,000,000.
Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. So 100,000 astronomical units isn't even it's not even a big deal in space. And then that itself is the tip of a huge iceberg. And all this it has a quality, Fran, beyond astronomy or astrology. It just kind of opens and opens and opens. And it honestly makes everything so much more precious to me at the end of the day, like this cup of tea. Like, we live in the most chaotic, just a universe that's like stark and terrifying at times, and it at the same time like created this mothership that spirals around and carries life and us and the human journey. And there's something about that I don't even really want to try to sum up in a point, like a finishing point. It's I don't know. It's just really precious. It's kind of beyond words to me. It's miraculous, and all of the words that people have always put on that. But
and there is so much beauty. I find it so fascinating now that we have all this technology, right? So we can get that together, or it can be puzzled together. How beautiful these clouds look like, and remnants of supernovae and things like that. So and then you have all this stuff there, and then you see, what I mean, stars explode and whatever, or they turn into whatever, or you know, wherever it leads to, but it doesn't end there. There is no death in that sense.
Right.
There is only a transformation. It's another state of being, but not yeah,
And
but not,
nothing's
it's not
fixed or
gone.
static in a final sense. Nothing,
Mm.
everything is in motion. And I think that that's something that I honestly think the most valuable point for a lot of people who are listening is going to be to kind of get the vision in their head, or the imagination that this is dynamic and it's an incomprehensible dance. It's not like something on paper. Like, even what you put on paper, you have your 2D chart on paper, and you know, Jupiter and Gemini, and he's doing this and that, and it's like, that's nice. That is all process. That implies a flux of a dynamic, a fluid, a process with stages, right? And to shift the thinking into a more organic and holistic thinking, right? A less data oriented, maybe less cerebral, more heart centered, where we're involved in the dance. We're involved in the flux. You know, that to me is one of the highest values that any of this material has to explore, is it opens that up for me.
Yeah, it's I think it's this shift from the absolute into thinking of a process in this sense, yeah, so that we are not in this narrow-minded tunnel vision, so but can expand and see, can include other things, and that yeah, I mean, we I feel like invited, you know, invited to okay, and now I let my mind go and fly and whatever, and explore what could that mean, where could that lead me, what is that, you know, feel like, and so on, and you can include that all, and it doesn't mean that it needs to be the same for somebody else, right? So it doesn't mean that it is this absolute, yeah.
Right. A lot of times we tend to want to fix things, not just as astronomers or astrologers, or just as people. As people, language does this. I mean, we just make something a thing and we fix it in our minds, and at that point, it can stop moving. And that's death. That brings death to that thing. Nothing is static. Nothing, you know, that's a butterfly with a pin through it in a display case, rather than a butterfly in a field, right, living in the wind. That's what happens when we fix and make something static, because nothing is. Nothing that we know of
Because
is static.
we are in this times, yeah, that we are crossing some or have just crossed some important evolutionary paths, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you know, the overlaying of the crosses, and so we are in so new times, you know. If you, I call it the alignment of the crosses. Other they are talking of the age of Aquarius and whatever, and with whatever reference points you use. So, but to me, it's this shift. It's there. It is something new. We have that opportunity to reinvent things, and and to see we get all this new information or old information that resurfaces and so on, and
Right,
we have to put the things together in a new perspective and build a new picture. And it doesn't mean that one person has all the puzzle pieces. No, we all have parts of the pieces, right? So it needs that working together and bring the information together and have this what could that mean, what could that mean, and how do you want to put these things together? And
right,
it's not
yeah.
about right or wrong, but just
Yes, yes, yes. I think in both of our cases, the the reinvention of things, it got connected to a sort of rediscovery of maybe the way things had been done. Not precisely, with astrology and 13 sign the way it is today. It doesn't seem to be exactly how it's done before, but in discovering and looking and saying, oh, well, how is it? How is this really? And in reinventing for ourselves, we've actually sort of proven that adage in a way that there's nothing new under the sun. We've discovered, well, this is how, people have kind of for time out of mind related to the skies and the heavens and space around them. And I think it's a good note. I think it's a good note to start to wrap up on, because I think that there's so much that could be a conversation for a different time, and maybe a follow-up. I'd love to have you back on the channel as a guest again.
would love to.
But it gives beauty, you know it gives beauty to my life, all of and that might be something that some people might not relate to, all the data and the Sedna and the Apahemian and how that's, maybe other people have different avenues to beauty, and I hope they find them, but picturing it is imagining it as a model is very beautiful. To be here rooted on the earth and in the middle of this as part of it, to bear witness to it, is just it's breathtaking, it's profound, and it adds that to my life. So I want to thank you very, very sincerely for all of your work, your
Thank you.
explorations.
It's I think what really is important is to see that everything is all the time in movement.
Yes.
And so we especially we astrologers, we are so fixed on the ecliptic, right? But also the ecliptic is moving, so the shape of the, I mean, what is the ecliptic? The ecliptic is actually just the Earth's orbit, and the Earth's orbit does change shape and
it's in flow.
plane in this sense as well, right? So what the ancients saw in the sky was very, very different to what we see today, because the whole thing did drop, and so from Earth we have to use the geocentric view, and so there we when you look at the equatorial line, that has shifted a lot, and so constellations that were visible in Europe thousands of years ago are no longer visible nowadays. So that whole thing did shift, and it all went more south. So constellations that were can have been much more north in those times and visible, which are not nowadays. And so maybe that whole discussion about which constellation should be considered in the zodiac and which not, would then again get another perspective. Yeah, so just only on the side note. So that is always changing, and I think a lot there should also be with the intuition, and what especially we in astrologer, we are not only that data collector, yeah, we also use our intuition and our hearts and our connection to get the interpretation, right?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that reminder, because it's so important. So important. I think in astronomy, you don't need as much heart, but in astrology, you need a lot of heart. You need, in astronomy, I don't know how much heart you need to really be. I mean, it would depend maybe on your nature and what you want to accomplish.
I think there are many very passionate people who are there within their jobs with all their hearts.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you can see all the beauty there, and you can contribute to make it visible to the people. Yeah, I think that needs a lot of heart too. Yeah.
Not to say that astronomers don't have heart, but I think you can be a good astronomer without making it like a really heartfelt path. I've seen people do important work or whatever, however you want to define that. What is important work? But in astrology, it worries me when the people are all in their head and no heart. I think if you don't have a strong heart, like a really strong heart connection to life and just the human experience, and also a connection to easing suffering. I don't think people have, the same. I think that just benefits astrology so greatly that you almost need it. Where astronomy, I don't know. Maybe astronomy I see as less heartfelt, but you're challenging. You're challenging that even just a moment ago makes me think about, is it dry and boring and academic, or is that just me? Is space like actually very fascinating and vivid and beautiful, and I'm just missing the point? So
yeah, I think that comes from that the realization that even hardcore physicists, they like Albert Einstein, he said he had his most revealing moments he had in dreams, or when he stopped thinking of it and just sat somewhere in a garden or whatever, and then suddenly it comes. So there it's the same. It's the
You're
same
so right. You're
principle
so
at
right.
work.
Life is more soulful and involved for everyone than I give it credit sometimes, and everything is
if you do what you do by heart, then it is the right thing.
That's
and
it
doesn't matter what that might be.
No, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful observation. And I don't mean to say astronomers like are heartless or don't that I think they lack heart. I find it so important, like just one of those pillars in astrology that, like, I think it needs. And I think that good astronomy, as you've shown today, obviously has heart, that it has soul, and it's relevant to life. It's not just an abstraction or
it's also connected. So we are part of that all, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing that back around. I really appreciate that point. And um, it's about time to wrap it up, and I want to invite you. Is there anything that you have going on? Would you like to promote your anything that you have going on, your site, or?
Well, at the moment there are various changes that I am planning. When that what is going on, I don't know yet. But
Okay.
I have a big website.
Yeah.
It's farmempowerment.com.
Yeah, we'll throw
And
it up there in the final cut.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there is a lot of information there. I also write a blog. I do have some kind of a shop. Yeah, there is only one item there right now, and that's the course I created over several months,
Yeah.
starting last year. And but I will put out more things like that Eris orbit study that I have done. I'm just right now at doing some correction work. Yeah,
Your
it's
studies are
20
so
pages.
fascinating. Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah.
so that's about the third going through for me. And then I will have to create a PDF out of it, and then it will be viable to buy. So
But your website, for people who aren't familiar with heliocentric, I would say that your website is a great way to see it in action, to see some of the to see what you're doing with it. And I would say that that you keep updated really with a lot of relevant. I think you and I both try to keep like regular updates with relevant material, me via YouTube, and your writing, your blog is it yeah.
Yeah, it's the
So
blog,
I
and I
just really
have a
appreciate.
lot of static pages. And I would like to add, yeah, even so that heliocentric and geocentric is different. The
Yeah.
meaning of the planets are the same. The
Oh yeah.
constellations are the same. Yeah, so the stars don't
Interesting.
change in the
Yeah.
view. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah. Well, beautiful.
so.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Fran. I'm going to wind it down. And is there anything that you would like to say in closing?
No, I think that's all. I am always almost dry now.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for
So
being here and
it's all
sharing.
good. Thank you very much. It was really a great conversation we had here. So going this back and forth, I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Your studies on planetary cycles and especially Eris, I think that's so fascinating. I would really love to see when that's published, what you've discovered about Eris. But for
I
now,
will
I want to say one
certainly
last time.
everybody let know.
Yeah, yeah, we must. I would definitely be wanting to public to share your finding. But thank you, Fran. I want to close it down.
Thank you
Thank
too.
you, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Ciao.